Welcome back to the Chatting Average, presented to you by Wyatt Nunn. Beautiful weekend of baseball. Shohei Ohtani made his first start. He pitched for the first time in like 2 years, a year. Who cares? He
Did
went
you
one
almost say
inning, he
8
gave up a run.
years?
Yeah, 8
No, I
years.
don't think that's accurate.
You know
Oh,
what?
no,
Here's
geez.
the other thing I'd like to talk to you about. What bet did you hit last night? Mine was nothing would happen. Shohei Ohtani gave up one run. I actually didn't make a bet on this. I can't give betting advice, according to my lawyer. But one inning pitched is nothing. I don't care. Congrats, bro. Threw a bullpen with guys against that aren't his team. Who cares?
He's just making major league rehab starts. The velocity's there, which is good. I'm sure it'll probably tick down a little bit if he gets fully stretched out because I think he's thrown like 40 pitches in simulated games so far. So like probably next time we see him is probably 2-3 innings. But
This was
good
a
to see
point
him.
that I made. This was a point I made to you guys in the group chat, but basically what the Dodgers have to deal with right now is rehab assignments for Shohei Ohtani at the major league level because he's different from every other pitcher in that you can't just outright him to single A, double A, whatever it is, because his bat is still a major league bat and you still need that bat in the lineup every day at the big league level. So we're going to see a lot of outings like this where he goes one inning, he goes two, he's just barely starting to get stretched out. And it's not something we ever see at the major league level, but as we've said a million times, Shohei is a different case.
My favorite thing that I got as I was not watching him pitch because I missed the first inning, then realized he only went one inning and was watching the NBA Finals, was that my favorite notification I received was Shohei Ohtani touched triple digits. And I was like, oh, that's crazy. Clicked to see what his stat line was. And I was like, cool, he gave up a run. I don't in an inning of work, he gave up 2 hits and a run. I don't care that he touched triple digits.
I'll tell you who does care that he touched triple digits and doesn't care that he gave up a run. That's the Dodgers.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
His results don't need to be good. He just needs to show that he still has the pieces together. That's why they're only throwing for an inning or two. They can't rely on him in a big spot quite yet.
I agree. Obviously it's great to see the face of the league back on the mound and doing the thing that is also very cool alongside him also being one of the best hitters in the league. I just don't think I need to see last night 3 of the top headlines on MLB.com Shohei Ohtani was on the mound where he played for an inning. So, congrats, we're back. Dodgers fans are happy. Roki Sasaki is dead. I mean, trade one, you get one.
I didn't hear a word of that, to be honest with you.
Fascinating sentence. I mean, we were hopscotching over every other word there. I have no idea what you just said.
Roki Sasaki, you got me now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Roki Sasaki is dead, I assume.
He stopped throwing.
He's stopped throwing, which is very important to his game where he goes on the mound every 5th day and he throws 100 pitches. That's my thing. I think we need to talk about how sure the Dodgers are good and they have all this money. And we always talk about how their rotation could be so good because they have 9 starting pitchers that all need spots. But every 2 years we go, oh, shoot, which prospect are they going to call up? Because those 9 guys all Tommy John.
We said coming into this season that the Dodgers, in order to repeat as champions, basically needed to avoid the unprecedented streak of injuries that they had last year. And to be clear, they still won the World Series even with unprecedented injuries last year. But we said that was the key going into the year for them, is just keeping their guys healthy. And that has not happened. That does not happen at all.
My other thing is just I wish that they were logical injuries, but it's it legitimately feels like every guy goes to the Dodgers and they're like, can you throw the splint curve? And can you throw it for 110 pitches? We don't really care. As long as your arm's okay for the first 10 starts, we don't care what happens after that because we'll just pull up somebody else who's coming off of Tommy John from 2 years ago.
I want to read you a list of every single pitcher on the IL for the Dodgers. This is per the MLB app as of this morning.
Yep.
Luis Garcia, Tyler Glasnow, Tony Gonsolin, Brusdar Graterol, Michael Grove, Edgardo Henriquez, Kyle Hurt, Evan Phillips, River Ryan, Roki Sasaki, Emmett Sheehan, Blake Snell, Gavin Stone, and Blake Trinan.
Hang on, I'm trying to get to the Fangraphs chart to see how many
That's
of those are Tommy John.
a full starting rotation and like 3 different leverage relievers.
Correct.
Okay, so out of all the injured pitchers, Tommy John 3 times with Gonsolin,
On the same
Kyle
guy?
Hurt. No, Gonsolin, Kyle Hurt, and Emmett Sheehan. Of course, then you have the shoulder surgery for Gavin Stone, the good old elbow discomfort for Tony Gonsolin, which means Tommy John, and the shoulder inflammation and impingement for Glasnow, Sasaki, and Blake Snell.
Tommy John
So-
3 times was my rapper name.
That's just your starters. You had another Tommy John if you go to the bullpen with Evan Phillips. Oh, and a strained forearm for Blake Trinan, so Tommy John. And
And I think it's
that looks like it's it. It looks like Luis Garcia pulled his
you can say groin.
down there section.
It's a muscle. I mean, as you
He
get
pulled
most
his
of
muscle.
all of those, save for the one that John took 15
He
seconds
was
to
pulling.
say. Stop it. All of those except for that were all shoulder, elbow, forearm, all of it from the motion. And
You can hurt your elbow doing that. I'm not speaking from experience, but I
from
can see
the
how that could.
pitching motion. From the
Yeah,
pitching
that's
motion.
what I'm
I
talking
feel
about.
like the pitching motion could,
They were playing Yahtzee.
Oh, you loyal listeners have no
All right,
idea what
let's
we're
go to the
talking
American
about.
League.
No.
We've got the
Can't
2
get
more
into the
really important
three.
pieces of news. 2 more really important
Correct.
pieces of news.
Yes.
Oh, are we going to
I
these
want
now?
to put a
Okay.
bow. I want to put a bow on this Dodgers discussion by posing a question to you guys that was posed by Foolish Baseball on Twitter.
Oh.
How many innings do you think Shohei Ohtani pitches in the remainder of his major league career?
Ooh.
Because for me, it's less than 400.
I think
Well, so
400 to 1,000. I think he might float on the lower end of that range, but I think they're going to start. I think at least for this year, he's going to be a 5 and dive pitcher. They're going to have him go 5 innings max probably, and that's just something you're comfortable with in the advent of the opener. More and more teams are having, single inning platoon advantage guys go out there and then a bulk guy. That's what they just did with Shohei Ohtani. That's why Ben Kasparius still has a roster spot on this Dodgers team, besides the obvious need for arms. So I think he'll build up more next year, and I think he will be there. I think he will have a future as a starter for at least a couple more years. I would, for me, like my ideal is that he continues to be a starter. I don't think, having him be a 1 inning guy that every 5th day you've got to burn a bullpen for him. I don't think that's sustainable. I don't think that's even what he wants. I think, everything I've seen from him so far is that he wants to do this. I mean, because I have a hard time believing the Dodgers are forcing him to be a starting pitcher. I think they'll have him do whatever he wants, and I think this is what he wants. So I think he's going to get there. I wouldn't be surprised if on the lower end of the 400 to 1,000.
I agree. My question though is why does he have to be a starter? He doesn't, right? Like
He doesn't.
he can play 7 innings and then come into pitch.
Right.
Oh yeah.
He could DH for 7 or 8 innings and then close in the 9th.
I could see the Dodgers trying to move him to the bullpen at some point in his career, but for me, I don't see him maintaining as a starting pitcher
Yeah.
who goes more than 2 more full seasons in the entire remainder of his career. Like I think his pitching days are numbered, unfortunately.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, it's so hard to stay healthy for a whole season just hitting. That it's like,
Yeah.
although the other thing is, and I would be excited to see this. If he stops pitching at some point, he goes back to the outfield
That's true.
because, and then you'd get to see Shohei like, I don't know, center field.
I think he,
Like,
you're
he'd go
touching
back to the
100 on the
corners
gun.
first. But
He's going to right field. I promise you, he goes
yeah,
to right field. Because right now
Yeah.
they've got Andy
Agreed.
Pajes who can play across all three. Again, that's just the 2025 roster. I do not think this is a outside chance. Like if this was a horse racing track, it's on the other side of the street. It's so outside chance that he comes back to the outfield this year at all. But it would be really fun
Yeah,
if he
Oh,
sticks
that's
position player
something that
only.
they'll start warming him up in spring training further down the road. Like that.
yeah.
That's not a mid-season
Like
change.
if they him and his camp and then the Dodgers or whatever team he ends up on, because who knows,
Right.
they'll probably trade him somehow. Um,
They'll figure it out.
if they do make the decision that he's no longer pitching, it'll be like a spring training. He's relearning how to play the outfield because he won't play the field unless he's not pitching.
Correct.
All right. Next thing of news: Rafael Devers was traded to the San Francisco Gigantes, which felt like Luka to the Lakers.
To an
To
It
some
extent.
people, to some people, other than the fact that like everybody knew that this was probably coming because they fought the entire spring training in the first half of the season.
Yeah, the
Right.
writing to an extent was on the wall there, and I think that's one difference between the Luka trade. The other difference between the Luka trade is that the Red Sox were not serious contenders before this trade, and certainly are not serious contenders after the fact. Whereas the Mavericks were coming off of a run to the finals, and now are in position to get right back there with the number one overall draft pick in Cooper Flag coming up in a week, give or take.
Yeah.
Um, but other than that, I could see the comparisons there for sure. Um, to me, this is probably the biggest trade that we have seen since Juan Soto the first time.
hmm
Is that fair to say?
I think so. I remember being this genuinely shocked at the Juan Soto to the Padres deal. I think
Yeah.
the difference is the return. Obviously, you
Correct.
pick up you pick up, I believe, Robert Hassel, Mackenzie Gore, Yarlene Susana, and C.J. Abrams in that one. I think is the
I think
four
Wood was in
prospects you
that
got.
trade as well. James Wood was there as well.
James Wood was in that one as well. They basically got an
Yeah.
entire outfield for him. And for
They're
Rafael
all
Devers,
there were 6 players traded back for Soto. They were all in the lineup at one point last week, which was pretty.
Yeah.
yeah. And then for the Red Sox, you get Jordan Hicks, who electric triple digit sinking fastball. Tried him out as a starter, couldn't stay healthy as a starter, went back to the bullpen, is on the IL with a toe injury, and has been okay, not great this season. Kyle Harrison, lefty, you know, big fastball, still trying to work out what his pitch mix is. Could be serviceable. Logan Webb's stamp of approval on that one. Jose Bayo, minor league reliever. We'll see what he's got. And then their
Brother of
first round
Brian.
pick. Oh, that's Ryan Bayo's brother? Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Did not know that. And then James Tibbs, the third, who corner outfielder from Florida State, can play first. I get the feeling they're going to push him to an infield corner because they're so log jammed in the outfield right now. I mean, that's kind of
They have a
the
lot of
whole thing.
outfielders and not a lot of long-term answers at outfield.
Right.
Is kind of how I feel about it.
Because I don't know how long you hold on to now that you've traded Rafael Devers. Frees a lot of money off the books. Not exactly the best way to look at a trade is how much money it frees up for you potentially not trading your franchise, arguably your franchise cornerstone at this point, but it's like, how much longer does Jaren Duran have on this roster? How much longer does Trevor Story have on this roster? How much longer do you have these players? Connor Wong is likely on his way out with Carlos Narvaez playing the way he's playing. This is a weird position for the Red Sox front office. Craig Breslow, John Henry have been getting their due flack for this because it was a team that was internally feeling very high. They were excited. This was a team that was, like, I think maybe 2 days before the trade, Alex Cora said, like, if there was a award for vibes in the clubhouse, we would win it. Like, this is a team that was talking about cohesion in the locker room, and then you just jettison your best player, and kind of you punt on the season. That's the only way I can describe it, is you're punting on the season, and I don't know if that return is great.
My thing about it is just like, I get the trade, and like, would I have traded Devers as if I was in charge? Probably. But like you said, like they're 38 and 36 coming into today. My thing is when Boston is bad, there's certain teams in the league that when they're bad, the league is worse. When the Red Sox are bad, it's worse for the league. The Mets are bad, it's worse for the league. When the Braves are bad, it's worse for the league since they cover half the fucking southern United States. Like, I just think that, like, I don't know. It sucks that they traded him for Boston fans. I don't think you should see it as like, hey, we're going total rebuild. Not like, so many guys on your roster perfectly fine in winning games that you guys just have to figure out how to win some darn games. Like, Devers was having a good year, but can we all remember back to the first 3 weeks of the season where Triple A? Like, they made him go play a different position for a little bit or whatever, and everybody was all like, "Oh, he sucks. He can't get a hit." And it's like, I don't know. You reap what you like. You get what you ask for. He does lead the league with walks this year,
which was it was a big thing.
56 of them.
So, my survey of the situation, more or less, is that this is a monster of Craig Breslow's creation, right? Like, he came in this offseason and made it very clear from the jump that this was going to be a different regime from what Chaim Bloom was running, and things were going to be different around here. And it's very possible, in my opinion, that maybe he was never a fan of Devers in the first place. And yes, this was a contract that was signed before Breslow came around, so he has no say in whether Devers is on the Red Sox or not, right, when you're coming in here. But when you have somebody that OPS is 150 every single season, when you have somebody that's that talented of a bat, it doesn't matter if they're going to make it more difficult for you defensively to try and find a place to put him. You keep that guy happy, because 150 OPS guys OPS plus guys do not grow on trees. They just don't. And it was clear from the messaging of Breslow about, okay, you're no longer a third baseman. We want you to DH. Okay, now pick up your first base glove. We want you to play first base. Sorry what we said about DH. Like, there were a lot of mixed messages being sent by Breslow and his organization, and I understand why Devers was fed up with that. Now, did he handle it well? No. There were a lot of things that Rafi Devers did wrong. But none of this would have been an issue if Breslow didn't come in the first place, carrying this era of, this is my team now, I'm changing everything, get in or get out of the way. And I think to a certain extent, this was a player that Breslow was always going to try to trade, because it's clear that Rafi was not his guy, right? And when you're trading a player of that caliber, first of all, the return's important, and I am very unimpressed by this return, right? As Sansoni said already, like, there's some pieces there that could be intriguing, but by and large, this is more about not having Rafael Devers than it is about rebuilding your team. And I think it's very short-sighted to pick up a 28-year-old that is this talented and flip him for pennies on the dollar just because you don't want to deal with having him around. Sometimes, as an executive, you got to swallow your pride, know that you're not the most important man in every room you walk into, and build the team out of good baseball players. And right now, the Red Sox are not doing that.
There's a really good article from Yahoo Sports that released a couple days
Yeah.
ago. It's escaping me who wrote it, but I read it
I
this
believe it was
morning.
June late. I believe it was June late.
But a really fascinating read into generally what we've been talking about here, which is that the clubhouse is good together, but the front office is in 10 different directions. And Craig Breslow is not exactly a very popular figure, both in the front office to the point where one of the longer tenured employees got caught on a hot mic moment, kind of insulting Craig Breslow, and got fired on the spot. And Breslow and the front office are seen as kind of jokes in the dugout, to the point where when they made, after Roman Anthony made a bit of a defensive miscue in right field in his first game, normally when the drills take place behind closed doors, they trotted him out and made him do the outfield drills in the outfield in front of the media. It's signaling per the report that it's like, hey, you guys are on this analytics sabermetrics high horse, and we are completely forgetting about the fundamentals. This is your fault. You're messing this up because you're making us focus on this random percentage, not the fact that these guys aren't learning how to read routes in the outfield. Like there's not like it is a complete organizational split. And the fact that Fenway Sports Group owned Liverpool Football Club just signed a massive transfer deal for a German football player or soccer player. Wait a couple days, please. You didn't have to do that like right now, because like now everyone's paying
bad.
attention. It looks really bad.
Yeah.
Why do you have all that money free? I don't know. Just saying.
Breslow kind of has this reputation. Yes, there's issues with the ownership group, and we can dig into that more if you'd like. But Breslow kind of has garnered this reputation now of just being another Ivy League dude in khaki pants that has no feel and doesn't know how a clubhouse operates. And we've seen that fail at the major league level time and time and time again. I think a lot of the issues that the Colorado Rockies currently are in can be traced back to Jeff Bridich, who comes from that exact same model of front office staffer that Craig Breslow is, right? It's a guy who thinks he's the smartest person in the room, who has a big ego, he's on his high horse, and if anybody dares cross him, then he's going to slash the team to make sure that everybody knows exactly where he stands on the totem pole. And what's interesting about Breslow is he doesn't fit that normal model of these Ivy League guys because he played ball for like a decade, right? Like he had an extensive collegiate and pro playing career. He was on Team Israel for years and years, right? So you would think he's somebody that understands how a clubhouse works and the dynamics there, and how important it is to have good culture and teammates and things like that. And doesn't seem to be the case. Does not seem to be the case.
And that's the tough thing too, really quickly, is that he played a decade plus. That's the thing. Breslow has been in a clubhouse. That was part of the rift between him and Devers, is that Devers thought, this is someone who should know how this works. This is someone who should know how this functions. And that a former player has moved to the front office and lost touch because you're seeing it in both sides. You're seeing Buster Posey, who literally compared pulling this trade off to comparable to some of the most stressful and high energy moments of his playing career, versus Craig Breslow, who I just saw a baseball card of his get burned on Twitter. Like,
I saw a guy buy an
Very.
autograph card and put it in the spokes of his bike. It was very funny.
there is complete attrition in the Red Sox fan base. They are gone. They are gone. I don't know. I'm resting my arms on my legs very weirdly. They're gone. They want nothing to do with it.
You see that the crocheting with Crochet Girl retired.
She retired for a day. She's coming back, but she's taking a start off because she's still very hurt about it. And understandably, there are people who genuinely are like, Red Sox fans thought this was the light at the end of the tunnel, that they'd finally get a chance to, like, okay, we're actually back in the playoffs again. It's been a decade of empty promises, and we're finally kind of coming back around to it. And they're feeling totally spurned because you sent him to the other side of the country.
You are banished to San Francisco.
That's right, Mickey Doolittle.
Well, Red Sox fans have one thing to be happy about, right?
Is it Roman?
The number one prospect in baseball got called up, right? The Roman Empire. 7 games played so far through 21 at-bats. He has 2 hits.
See, if this was the Roman Empire, Rome is getting sacked by the Visigoths right now. This is not
This
good.
is apparently the end of the Roman Empire.
You guys can go and talk about this as long as you want to, but I have one thought and one thought only about Roman Anthony, and that's that his dad's name is Anthony.
Okay, that's all I care about too. One more thing about Devers here. Contract is a little weird. There's deferred money. I love deferred money. Question.
Dodgers reference.
2034 to 2043, he's owed about $7 million a year. In 2034, the Red Sox are responsible for paying him. Every year after that, it's currently the Giants, unless they somehow trade him. Probably to the Braves. They like to do that, right?
No. The way it works is that the Braves, it goes Athletics, Braves, then to the Angels. The Braves pick up ex-Athletics, and the Angels pick up ex-Braves. That's the only way it works. They do not deal with any other California teams.
All right. The Rockies picked up an ex-Brave, and it went pretty well.
Huh?
Sam Hilliard.
I said the Rockies picked up an ex-Brave, and it's gone pretty well this week.
All right, we'll get to
that.
Time to get into the actual weekend of baseball weekends. I don't exactly know where to start here because the Sox got swept. However, the Rockies and the Atlanta Braves played each other.
Let's start
with the game. We won a game.
Let's start with the NL.
Let's start with the National League. We'll start with the Colorado Rockies and the Atlanta Braves. A 3-game series, baby. And the Atlanta Braves do take the series 2 of 3. They take the first 2 here, 12-4 in Game 1. Michael Harris has a 3-run shot. Ozuna has a 3-run shot from the Braves, and Olsen has 3 RBIs. 4-1 in Game 2 for those Bravos. Acuna with the 2-run home run. Strider goes 6 innings pitched, 3 hits, 13 Ks. John's all excited going into Game 3 of the series, and the Rockies put up a 10 spot. 10-1 for the Rockies. McMahon homers, and Colorado scores 6 in the top of the 7th to crush John's hopes and dreams. And Adam gets to experience a win for just the 14th time all season. Pittsburgh and the Chicago Cubs, a 4-game set here. The Cubs take it 3-1, 3-2 in Game 1. PCA with the 2-run home. Also day 2-1 in Game 2 for Pittsburgh. Final in 10 innings. IKF has a sac fly in the top of the 10th, and Frazier scored. 2-1 in Game 3. McCutchen has a home run. Swanson has a home run. The Cubs win 1. And then 3-2 in Game 4 for the Cubs. A final after 10 innings. A bunch of extra innings in this one. Happ with an RBI single in the bottom of the 10th. Walk-off. Miami and Washington. Miami takes the sweep here in 3 games. 11-9 in the first one. Ramirez has 2 homers on the day. That's a former top catching prospect. James Wood also homers, but Wagman and Sanchez each have 2. 4-3 in Game 2. Sanchez, Hicks, and Wagman have RBIs. Wagman had a good series this weekend. Game 3, a 3-1 win. And Dane Myers home, Wagman, and RBIs. A St. Louis and Milwaukee set here, 4 games here. Milwaukee takes it 3-1. A 6-0 win in Game 1 for Milwaukee. Churio is a two-run home run. Sam Frelick 2 RBIs, and the debut of Mizorowski goes 5 innings pitched, 0 hits, 5 Ks. A Game 2 win for the Brewers 3-2. William Contreras 2 RBIs, and Peralta innings pitched, 6 Ks. St. Louis wins Game 3 8-5. Nolan 3-run home run. Wilson Contreras goes yard, and Victor Scott II has 2 RBIs. Game 4 win for the Brew Crew. Yelich homers, and Frelick and Avins each have RBIs. The Padres and the Diamondbacks. Diamondbacks take the first 2 games, 5-1 in Game 1. Naylor 8-7 in Game 2 for the Diamondbacks. Sheets homers. Suarez has a 3-run home run. The Padres are up 7-3 in the top of the 9th, and scores 5 to walk it off. Happened not once, but like 4 times this season, putting up a ton of runs in the last inning for the Diamondbacks. Game 3, an 8-2 win for the Padres. Cronin with a 2-run home run. Elias Diaz as a home run. San Francisco Giants and the Dodgers to win for the Giants. Adames Casey Schmidt goes yard, and so does Kisner. I don't know. Game 2, 11-5 win for the Dodgers. Ohtani has a home run. The Dodgers score 5 runs in the bottom of the 2nd. Ohtani homers again. Teoscar homers, and that's an 11-5 win. 5-4 in Game 3. Pages has a 3-run home run. That's Andy Page.
Look at the standings in the National League. We'll go west to east, as is tradition. And in the west, the big sheriff in town. No surprise, the Los Angeles Dodgers, 44-29. They are 2.5 games up in the division. San Francisco Giants hot on their tail. They are getting better after the trade for Rafi Devers. San Diego Padres, they're 4 games back, but clinging to that last wild card spot. Arizona 7 games back, and the Colorado Rockies are there as well. In the NL Central, the Chicago Cubs 44-28, second best record in the National League. Brewers coming in behind them, 5.5 games back. They are a game back of a wild card spot at 39-34. The Reds and the Cardinals, both 37-35. They're both 7 games back. And then the Pirates, 15.5 back in the Central. And the NL East, the Mets, 45-27. They are your best team in the National League. The Philadelphia Phillies, 2 games back of them, 3.5 games up in the wild card race. And from there, it's a lot of teams out of contention. The Braves, 13 games back. The Nationals, 15 games back. The Marlins, 16 games back. You can put those last 2 to bed. Braves hanging on by a thread right now. They need to turn it around.
Okay. I promise I'll be brief.
Speak on your teams.
I'll promise I'll be brief.
By all means.
Grant Holmes went 6 1/3 innings in the third game against the Colorado Rockies. 2 hits, 3 runs, 2
was great.
2 hits, 3 runs, 2 earned with 2 walks and 15 strikeouts. One shy of tying Spencer Strider for the highest single game strikeout count by a starting pitcher in Braves history. They put Aniel De Los Santos in. Does not record an out. 3 hits, 4 earned runs, and a walk. Brings the season ERA to 3.99. Getting a little bit out of hand there. It's now 7 runs on the board, 7-1. Brian Snitker, in his infinite wisdom, looks over to his bullpen, puts Jose Ruiz in. Jose Ruiz was just DFA'd by the Philadelphia Phillies, was the one that they brought in post Craig Kimbrell disaster. He goes an inning. 2 hits, 3 earned runs, 2 walks, and a strikeout. That raises his season ERA to a respectable 8.82. The offense for the Atlanta Braves against Austin Gomber, who just came off the injured list, mind you, literally just came off the 60-day IL. The Braves get 6 hits in 31 at-bats, 8 strikeouts. They score 1 run. 1 run from Austin Riley. this team needs something. It can't just be Ronald Acuna. And right now, it is just Ronald Acuna. Spencer Strider came back. Great. His velocity was there. He's striking people out. It's not the starting rotation's fault, and it's not Ronald Acuna's fault. But anything else on this team is deeply suspect, including and not limited to the bullpen. Anyone hitting 6 through 9, Alex Verdugo, Brian Snicker, who would just sit there and go, guys, I'm trying to watch the game as AJ Smith-Shawver's arm literally falls off his body.
That was pretty funny.
And now they get to be ritualistically sacrificed to the New York Mets for 3 games. So,
listen, you know what would really help this offense for the Braves?
What would really help this offense for the Braves?
Adam, hear me out as an unbiased member here. Do you think a very consistent, a very good at hitting lefty first baseman who loves the city and the state of Georgia would help this team?
I wouldn't hurt to try.
Maybe even a guy who's like the first letter of his first name is very, very similar to the first letter of his last name.
Oh, yeah. Maybe the same letter.
Maybe even the same letter. All right, what else do we have in the National League? Buzz, do you want to talk about your 14th win of the season? It's actually your 15th.
Yeah, that was our 14th win of the season. We've now won 15 games. The Rockies on
did you win yesterday?
2-game winning streak right now. It is their third 2-game winning streak of the season. The longest winning streak they have this season is 3 games. So, hey, we're going to try and get there today, which is pretty impressive. For those of you keeping track at home, there are now 5 baseball players for the Colorado Rockies who have an OPS plus of at least 100 this season. So we have 5 guys that are at least league average. Do not look at the number of games played for some of these guys, especially Sam Hilliard. Here's the thing, right? The Rockies are at the point in the season where they're throwing everything at the wall and seeing if it sticks. That includes calling up Keston Hiura. That includes signing Orlando Arcia, bringing him in, trying to play him at first base, which is confusing and not good. A lot of the guys that they've brought in throughout the course of the season have been not good. Orlando Arcia, for example, has played 12 games and he has negative half a WAR already in a Rockies uniform. Did hit a walk-off, though, which was cool. I don't know what more you want me to say other than this is a bad team. I will say this. This is my one Rockies rant, and I'll be quick with it. The social media team for the Colorado Rockies is trying to push Hunter Goodman as this team's all-star participant, because every team gets an all-star participant, which I think is bullshit, but that's beside the point. The all-star participant for the Rockies should be Jake Bird. He's been really good out of the bullpen, like genuinely has some of the best numbers in the league. If you haven't looked at Jake Bird's numbers, go do that, because he's genuinely a very talented young man and probably should be flipped at the deadline. But the social media team has decided that Hunter Goodman is going to be the guy that they push. And the reason for that is because you can't fan vote on pitchers, right? So you got to pick a position player to be the guy that you really push. And as one of very few players who has actually been decent this season, Goodman rocking a 125 OPS plus across 70 games played out of that catcher position. Like, I understand where they're coming from with that, but the marketing that this team has been using is embarrassing, frankly. I want to read you verbatim a tweet that was posted by the official Colorado Rockies page yesterday. Quote, "So here's the deal. This is David versus Goliath. We need your votes. Hunter Goodman is the best catcher in the National League." And then it's a link to vote and a picture of the voting for catchers in the National League, which shows that Hunter Goodman is in 5th behind Will Smith, Carson Kelly, Francisco Alvarez, and JT Realmuto. Here's the thing. He's not the best catcher in the National League. He's not close to the best catcher in the National League. If you were going to try and push some stats to back that up, I wouldn't hate this much. But just throwing a baseless claim out, being like, vote for him, he's good, and having no reason to vote for him is so dumb. And the whole, this is David versus Goliath. Well, how did we end up being David? How did we get there, Rocky's admin? Let's have a conversation about that. Why do we have no fan base? Why have we only won 15 games this year? It's not the fans' fault. Promise you it's not the fans' fault.
I love admin Twitter user parasocial relationships. Because when the Sox win games, the entire comment section is just, enjoy this one, admin. Hey, screenshot these comments, admin. Read them later.
That's why I'm like, yeah.
Go ahead, John.
No, I was about to say, like, Red Sox admin is having the exact opposite interaction.
Yeah.
But continue, sorry.
Since the Rockies last went to the playoffs, which was 2018, they have changed admin on social media 3 times now. This might even be the 4th, actually. And each time the social media presence has just gotten progressively worse. And some of that, to an extent, coincides with how poor the play on the field has been, right? It's hard to run a social media page for a team that sucks, and I empathize with that to a certain extent. But I also just think, outside of how they play baseball, the Rockies have one of the worst social media presences in the entire league, and that's really, really embarrassing. So you can't be bad and suck at Twitter. You can't do both.
That's the thing. I do both, and it's remarkably easy. I mean, it is quite easy for me to be bad and suck at Twitter. At the Chatting AVG on X, the Everything app, if you want to find us there. Do we want to move to the AL? Because we are.
Do we have any other series you want to talk about, or we can move ahead? I don't mind.
My only thing is it sounds weird, but like the Giants taking a game from the Dodgers is good. Like you're 3 games back from them right now. Good job. That's it.
And they're finally they're gonna be on the up.
Jacob Mizorowski.
Yeah.
He fell off the mound. Oh my god, he fell off the mound. I had him starting in fantasy, and he goes 5 scoreless innings, racking up strikeouts, triple-digit fastball. Top of the 6th inning, rolls his ankle, walking up to the pitcher's mound, and is taken out of the game.
Yeah,
that's the most Brewers thing to ever happen to your pitcher. He said he's fine. He's going to start. He's okay, which is good because I have him in fantasy. But you got to bubble wrap these guys or something. At this point, get the bullpen cart that the Nationals had and just wheel them up to the mound. Like, I don't know what's going on here, man.
Mizorowski's good. Played his JUCO ball in Missouri, which is good. The Brewers just keep shitting out these, strong caliber starting pitchers and have been for a while now. It was Corbin and Brandon Woodruff. They got replaced. It was Freddie Peralta. He got replaced. Now, maybe this guy, Mizorowski, is going to be the next in line there. The Brewers need somebody, and picking up, having him, break through to the major leagues. He goes 5 hitless. That's pretty good. This is a team to watch, especially after getting the series sweep over the Cardinals, who I think we can just about put to bed. To the AL?
To the AL.
I think after the AL and the NL, we have to talk about fantasy baseball. In the American League, ladies and gentlemen, 9 of the 15 series this weekend were sweeps. All right? I need to say that again. 9 of 15 series this weekend were sweeps, including every series played between an American League team and an American League team. Baltimore sweeps the Angels 2-0 in Game 1. O'Hearn homers, Laureano homers, Charlie Morton 5 innings pitched, 5 hits, 10 Ks. 6-5 in Game 2. Rengifo homers twice. Mullen has a 2-run homer, and Gary Sanchez homers. 11-2 in Game 3. Urias homer. Sanchez grand slam. Jordan Westburg 2-run homer. Boston sweeps the New York Yankees. The Yankees lose. Game 1, 2-1. Boston wins it. It's after 10 innings. Judge, 26th homer of the season in the first game there. Bottom of the 10th, Navarez, RBI single, walk-off. Game 2, a 4-3 win for the Bo Sox. Gonzalez, Story, and Mayer each have RBIs. Hunter Dobbins holds on to that nice little quote he had last week and says, 6 innings pitched, 2 hits, 5 Ks, screw you. 2-0 in Game 3, Rafael Devers has a home run and then is immediately traded across the country. And Bayo goes 7 innings pitched, 3 hits, 8 Ks. Texas sweeps the White Sox 3-1 in Game 1. Josh Smith with the homer. Texas goes full bullpen day. 5-4 in Game 2 after 11 innings. Bottom of the 11th, Adolis Garcia has an RBI single. 2-1 in Game 3. Durant has an RBI double, and Cooper Rocker goes 5 innings pitched, 6 strikeouts. The Athletics sweep the Royals, the only team to sweep on the road this week in the American League. 6-4 in Game 1. Austin Wynns has a home run. Luis Urias has a home run. Severino goes 7.2 innings pitched, 1 earned run. 4-0 in Game 2. Muncy has a 2-run home run. Butler has a home run. Lopez goes 6 innings pitched, 9 Ks. 3-2 in Game 3. Wynns has a 2-run shot. Kurtz, Nick has a home run in the top of the 9th for the lead. Houston and Minnesota in the great Dakin Park. Houston gets the sweep. 10-3 in Game 1. Altuve has a home run and 3 RBIs on the day. Melton has 3 RBIs. Cam Smith has 2. Game 2, a 3-2 win for Houston. Diaz has a 2-run homer. Bottom of the 9th, Cam Smith has an RBI single for the walk-off. Game 3, a 2-1 win. Bottom of the 9th, Caratini has a sac fly to tie it. Bottom of the 10th, Mauricio Dubon has an RBI single for the walk-off. Cleveland and Seattle. Seattle takes the sweep here. 7-2 in Game 1. Tellez goes yard, so does Polanco. And Dominic Gonzone has 2 RBIs. Game 2, a 4-3 win for Seattle. Bottom of the 9th, more scores on a wild pitch. Then Polanco has an RBI single for the walk-off. In Game 3, a 6-0 win for the Mariners. Crawford has a grand slam, and Hancock goes 7 innings pitched, 2 hits, 4 Ks.
Going west to east in the American League, the Houston Astros on top of the AL West. They're 4.5 games up on those Seattle Mariners. Texas Rangers lagging behind 5 games back. The Angels 6.5. And John Sansoni's Oakland, Sacramento, Los Angeles Athletics 12 games out of the division lead. In the American League Central, the best team in baseball is the Detroit Tigers. They're 46-27. The Minnesota Twins 9 games behind them. They're only half a spot, so Twins fans don't give up hope quite yet. The Cleveland Guardians, perfectly balanced as all things should be, at 500. They're 9.5 back in the division. The Royals 11.5 back. Time to consider putting them to bed. And then the White Sox 22.5 back. That's not great. In the American League East, the New York Yankees 42-29. They lead the division. 2.5 back of them are the Tampa Bay Rays. They currently hold a wild card spot. They're 3 games up in the wild card race. Also in possession of a wild card spot, the Toronto Blue Jays. They are 1.5 games up of their next closest competition. The Red Sox 38-36. They're a sinking ship, and the Baltimore Orioles, who never even got out of harbor, are 30-41. Where do we want to start?
The Red Sox currently hold a playoff spot.
Sounds like sellers to me.
I think it's very funny that like the weekend,
all of them are sweeps.
They're all sweeps. First off, that's weird.
Very funny.
The funniest thing though is like Boston swept the second best team in the American League and then said, "Get rid of that guy who's good. This can't happen."
This guy terrorizes the Yankees. We need him out of here now.
My favorite